Hey, Hosomi. This is Egan talking about your Finale 2017 detail entry. Uh, yeah, so generally it's a bit basic and it kind of feels like there's not a lot of reason. I don't know if I can go show trigger toggle. Okay, that's the death pit. To fly over it here. Like, what are these things? Showers? Switches? Oh god, my screen is exploding. This room is kind of like simple and also unsatisfying, I would say. Here, I'm gonna resume the timer just so it's not 420. Okay, 418 better. Alright. Yeah, this room is really basic because it's like players start really low and they enter the room and they want to go to high ground to feel satisfied in this room because they're so low. It feels like I'm like lying down on the floor because this room is so big and I'm so close to the ground. And then this ramp is so like, you know, not inclined at all, which maybe makes sense for the payload cart, but as like a player I want there to be like a staircase right here or right here just to like let me really quickly go to the height, but no, I have to go really slowly. And then even when I go up the ramp I'm like barely higher than where I was, so I'm still like unsatisfied with how far I went into this room. And then too, you notice like the ceiling is just like metal and there's like windows, but there's nothing in particular in this room. There's no like hatches here, there's no spy tech here other than just like random kind of general pipes and things. There's even like these big old pipes feeding into like a machine or something, but it's just concrete. I feel like you could have put something a bit more special going on in here instead of just kind of filling the space. And I have a feeling that this is probably one of your first maps just because, you know, the texture choosing wasn't particularly specific, so I feel like you're like, oh yeah, this fits good enough, which is okay, you know, for a beginner mapper. I think that's fine, fine enough. Weird, I didn't even notice that this was a thing up here. I think it looks okay. That looks okay, this thing here. Some things look okay. If this is a finale and then like people were spawning right here and defending this or like spawning around here, yeah, I feel like you probably would have like a staircase leading up here, and then there's just this big empty death pit which is very big and like empty, and it's such a long distance, like you probably could have like shortened the distance here. You also got like purple floor underneath here, which is weird, shimmering. Yeah, I guess it feels like a bit basic and also a bit like, I'm not really sure what the point of the room is. Very white, bright lighting in here. Yeah, I think you could have done a little bit more specific detailing in spots just to make it look a little bit less empty with pipes and things. It also kind of looks like I think that is a frontline texture, I think. Some of the texture choices look a little bit like random and like you didn't. It feels more like it was an experiment of general Team Fortress 2 detailings and not anything specific. I guess I like this metal like strip you got going on, like a really tiny rail stretching across, and that looks really kind of subtle. It feels like one of those toy train play sets. It just kind of stops here. There's just this stain here. There's not even like a drain. There's nothing like dripping. There's no like reason for it being here. And this is generally just kind of like a empty spy techy kind of room with a payload cart that extends this way. And then maybe this is like, this area feels kind of basic and big and empty, I would say. I'm not sure how much more feedback I could really give you because it feels more like a first map. Yeah, I feel like that locker room sign over there is like too far away. I doubt anybody could even read it on the YouTube video without full screening it, and even then it's probably pixely. You probably could have pulled that whole end area forwards like half as much space, or like at least, you know, a third more inwards, just to kind of like make it a bit easier to tell what this space is. I feel like you could probably make this room look a little bit more white in Spy Techie instead of just like big empty concrete industrial, you know, as a finale. Like you have like this being a little bit more white in Spy Techie, but then not really. It kind of feels like this is more middle of the map, you know? And even this, like this room, it doesn't really have a particular purpose or focus. It kind of feels like it's just like filling up a space with things. At least you can stand up here. But then up here, there's like no doors for people to get up here. There's no like doors standing here or here that a player down here goes, oh, there's a walkway up there with no doors. And nothing kind of in the corners or anywhere in particular. Yeah, I think you could have done a little bit more interesting storytelling with the space. I hope this was useful, and I hope I don't sound like too much of a dick, just like ripping you apart and tearing apart your detail entry. I think some areas look pretty good. I think your use of these like brownish metal textures look pretty good. Generally, I think it could be pretty good if this room, which has pretty interesting geometry, was used not as a finale, but maybe as like a midpoint, as like a payload race map or something. Because this is pretty unique geometry. I haven't seen it before, but I feel like it's kind of unsatisfying that this leads to like just the middle of a room. But maybe rather if this was like the tallest point and then you kind of symmetricalized, had another one of these going on over here, and then had like more interesting like asymmetry on the sides of the room or something. Maybe that could be kind of neat. Yeah, anyway, I hope this was useful. Hope it was a little bit helpful or interesting at least. Good luck with your future mapping endeavors.